students for the county. I'm at all 4 schools. You'll see me here first period every morning. And this is best practices for our L students. This is required by the state of Georgia. So this is not something that I just wanted to come share with y'all. It's something that's mandated. So let's get started so it won't take long. There'll be written reports given to me to give to you from the county. So you will receive these every so often. In the packet that I gave you today gives you accommodations that you can use for these L students that you will have in your classroom. We will meet before midterm, the teacher and the parent and the student, and we will go over accommodations that they will need for testing or for any accommodations that they will need in your room to be successful. And when I'm saying that, let me also say, I'm here to help you. If you have one in your class and you see that they're struggling, please email me and tell me what they're struggling with, what they need help with. That's what I'm here for, is to make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful in your classroom. These are some key terminologies that you'll hear. I'm not going to read these to you. I'm going to just let you look at them while I talk. Especially if we're in a meeting, you might hear us say one of these. The ESOL is like English for other languages. You'll hear me refer to them as L students because they're English language learners. And the rest of this, some of the ones at the bottom are just codes that you'll find on their paperwork. Home language survey lets me know it goes home with them the first of school. If they come back and answer, there's 3 questions. If they come back and answer any of the 3 questions with something other than English, I have to automatically test them to see if they need services from the county. Over the past 12 to maybe 15 years, ELL in Washington County has grown by leaps and bounds. It's grown by leaps and bounds all over the state of Georgia. A neighboring county has 140 EL students in their high school. Just in their high school. And this is Dublin. And we service about 20 in our county. Like I said, here's the 3 questions that are asked on the home survey. And like I said, if they answer English, something other than English to any 3 of them, then we have to serve them. We give them support. That's my job. I teach them the things that they can't handle in your classroom. So if you see something that they're having, please let me know. It's mandated that I keep each student that's an L student for 55 minutes each day. So they have to have services each day for 55 minutes. That's required by the state. They have to have state mandated assessments. And if it's their first year in the county and they meet certain criteria, it says that they don't have to take certain tests. Okay? They're also all L students, whether their parents signs them and says yes they can have L services, or if they don't, every student is required, if they need accommodations, they get accommodations. Okay? They don't have to necessarily be served by me if the parents say no, but if they need services or need accommodations, they are required to get them. Monitored students, we have some. We do not have any at high school. We have some at middle school. Let's see, the L teacher knows the academic strengths and weaknesses of the students. I'm familiar with their English levels, their background. I gave you a list of accommodations that you can start off with. If you see that doesn't work, you're with them probably and see them more than I do. So if you find out something's working, just write it down on a note, and then when we meet it'll probably be progress report time, when we sit down and do this and write it down and sign off on it, then we'll have what you think is working best. Food for thought. Every teacher that was in this room a few minutes ago is a language teacher, okay? Not just you, because you have my L students. Everybody teaches language, because everybody teaches words, everybody teaches vocabulary, so every teacher is a language teacher. All right, what constitutes academic language proficiency? What constitutes academic content knowledge? And what is the relationship of the two? Language proficiency involves the language associated with the content area. Content knowledge reflects the declarative and procedural knowledge associated with the content. The bottom line, it says, in order for students to achieve academically and exhibit learning on large-scale, high-stake assessments, they must master academic language. All right, and this just tells you a little bit about the test that I give. It's the access test. They're giving it at the end of the school year, about January and February, and it covers all subject areas. This just says a little bit more about the access test. Okay, there are 5 WIDA standards, okay? GPS has tons, but the WIDA standards there's only 5. And there's one for each subject area. One for social studies, one for language arts, one for math, one for science, and one for social studies. And as you can see, they're very broad. Okay, this is the proficiency level. When I get with you and we sit down and start talking about each individual student, I will tell you which proficiency level that they're on. And then there's certain things that you can do for each level. They're entering, beginning, development, expanding, bridging, or reaching. If they're in the reaching, they're fixing to be out of the program. So none of the ones at the high school are in the reaching. Ours are in 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we have can-do descriptors. These are things that give you examples of what an L student in that grade is expected to do, and based on their proficiency level. The model performance indicators, they have 3 distinct parts: language function, the topic, and then the support. All right, let's look at a sample. It says, identify words or phrases associated with adventures using visual support and word and phrases, phrase walls or banks. Identify, that means the language function. Words or phrases tells you the topic, and then using visual support and word or phrase walls is the support that the student needs. Any one or more of these parts may be changed to match the level that the L student is on. It depends on which one of the levels that they're on in class. Why is the English proficiency level important for effective planning for student academic success? Based on several languages we can learn in any setting or situation. However, academic language is not generally learned outside the classroom because they don't use it, so they don't learn it. So that's where I come in. If you have vocabulary words or words that they're going to need in send them to me and we can work on them in my classroom. But if I don't know ahead of time, as soon as you know, okay, we need to know these, they need to know these words, please send them to me and we'll work on them in my class. It says if a student is literate in social language or a teacher without training in second language acquisition may mistakenly assure that the student's literal levels extend to academic languages as well. Okay. The ESOL teacher is responsible for the development of the student's academic language, while the content teacher, which is you, is responsible for teaching the academic content and making it comprehensible for the L student. Accommodations provided to the student are generally tailored to fit the student's academic, literal, and background knowledge in his or her native language, and level of comprehension is determined by his or her proficiency level. This is key for them to succeed and for you to succeed and me to succeed. We need to work together. So the only way I know if they need something is for you to either see me in the hall, I'm here first period every day, or I usually get here about 7:10, or email me and say they need help with this or they need this. Vocabulary, to a lot of these students, they do not understand. They're going to need that extra. They're going to need visuals. If you're telling them some vocabulary words and they give you this blank look, it's because they don't have the background knowledge and they don't understand what, it's not that they don't know. They might know what it is in Spanish or Gujarati or Indian, but if they've never heard it in English, so if you could give visuals or give a handout or something that'll make it more to them that they'll understand would help tremendously. It says here, always print key information for the students. And when I mean print, I mean like print your letters. They do not read cursive because they do not write in cursive. So they can't read when the letters are all scrunched together. And it says use the language of the test, because if they get used to hearing that, they'll learn that. Another thing that's not on the slide, and I sort of want to tell you a little bit about, they're going to be very quiet when they come in your classroom. If they haven't had you before at the beginning of school, they're going to be very quiet. It's not that they don't know. That's the silent period for them. They have to get comfortable and understand where they're at and feel comfortable in the class before they're going to speak. It's not that they don't know. It's just that's one of their coping skills, is to be very quiet and not to say anything. Now once they get comfortable, you'll say they will not hush their mouth, because they won't. I can't get them to hush in my class. Familiarize the students with the format of the test or assessments. Try to relate new information to something that they already know, and we know this as teachers, and introduce new phrases with not a formal definition. Ask students to restate in their own words to make sure they understood. When working with new phrases, descriptions, try not to use words that you think that they will not understand. Use pictures, graphs, anything like that. It says you could use a vocabulary notebook. That's just something else for you to have to keep up with. So you probably know what's best for your class. Slang They do not understand slang at all. I'll give you a good example. The first year I taught this, one of my students came running into my classroom crying. He says, "I am water, I am water, I am water." And I said, and I called him by name, and I said, "Sweetheart, what do you mean?" He said, "They say I am water." And I'm like, "Darling, you're not in water." And he said, "Yes, they say I am water." But then it finally hit me what he meant. His pants were very short, and the students were telling him that he was in water. High water. And he did not understand. And he was like, they saying, but he took what the teacher said, the student said literally, that he was standing in water and he wasn't. And they did not understand things like that. Like one day last year in my class, I said, "Y'all are driving me crazy." And they took that, even though I say that probably 900 times a day, they took that as serious.
You said they took it literally?
Yes, they do. And I'm not going to read this. This is just things that they have trouble with in science. Some of the barriers. Here's some of the things that it says that best practices that they say to use for science. Same thing for social studies. Some of the barriers, and then here's some of the best practices. Of course, we know imagery, visual support, outlines, restate things for clarification. Same thing for math. Like a table, in math, and then a table that they sit, they have trouble with that. My L students work best in small groups, and you will see that. They do better with people in their own grade than they do at first working with the teacher. So small groups are great. All right, this is my students. At the end of the school year, we have what we call a taste of culture. And each family comes in and brings a native dish to their family, something that identifies them. And we have a table and we put all the food out, and then everybody from the Gujarati families to the Indian families to the Mexican families, we all get to taste what their culture is like. We have a band that comes and plays.
It's really neat too.
Exactly. And the kids feel like they're part of the school because they actually have part of their culture here. My students, our students, are challenging. I won't say they're going to be easy to teach, but they all have a love for learning. I've seen that. They want to be here. Their parents want them here. Their parents, if you need anything, will bend over backwards because they want them here and they want them to get a very good education. And they want them to be better than how they grew up, how they went to school. So I appreciate what you do for our L students in the county. If I can do something for you, please let me know. Email me. I'm open to any suggestions. If you find out something's working in your classroom, email me and say, "Oh, this is working great. You might want to try it in your classroom." This is only my second year doing this full time. I did it after school or during my planning period every day since 2004. So this summer I got certified to do it all day long. So, but if you need me, please do not hesitate. Anybody have a question that I might can answer?
How many do we have that will be teaching?
You only have 2 right now at the high school. One is a new coming 9th grader from the middle school. He's a boy. And then we have, he's Mexican, very quiet, very quiet. His name is Gustavo Carrera. He is very capable, but you have to push him tremendously. We have a 10th grader. Her name's Michelle. She is loves to talk, has a boyfriend, so you have to keep her mind off the boyfriend because that's all she seems to worry about when she gets to school. Very capable, a very knowledgeable student.
So last name?
Macinto.
Oh, yeah, I had the last name.
Very capable of more than she does. Very capable. So you should not have any discipline problems out of either one of these students. They're usually very good. But like I said, if you need me, please don't hesitate to call or email. Anybody else have a question? Okay, I appreciate it, and that's it.
What's that?
Oh, okay, turn that paper over. I'm glad you said that, Sam. Forgot all about it. Okay,
It's not mandatory.
Is this the top or this the bottom?
the top's a little short line. Okay, I want you to read the story. I want you to write me a paragraph telling me the setting, telling me the characters, and telling me the solution to this problem.
It's not Mandarin, is it?
Mm-mm.
It's Indian, Korean? It's Indian?
It's Indian.
Indian.
Now,
Indian.
this is how they feel like when they walk into your classroom, when they see words, stories, sentences. This is, you will, and I cannot believe she picked the story. It is the story of the 3 little pigs. Now, this is how they feel when they walk into your classroom and you put something in front of them. It's not that they don't want to know it, and it's not that they're not capable of learning it. It's just in a different language, and they can't decipher what it is until you teach them what the individual components are. I sat in a class and learned how to decipher this, and it was unreal the steps that you have to go through to learn something so complicated, and it just brought a new light to my eyes that, wow, when they walk in, this is really how they feel. I mean, the lady walked in, she started talking, and I was like, oh the heavens, what is she saying? And then, I mean, she was just reading the story, and it brought a new sense to my eyes that this is how they feel sometimes when they're in class and they don't understand. So, I appreciate it, and I don't think I'll have to be back till 9 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just mind yourself.
Yes, around 30.
Letter.